Gbogbo ni mun foti West Africa Democracy Radio.
Shekka muna a Nigeria. Saurari WADR.
Benegana ko hangadam WADR.
Live with West Africa Democracy Radio.
Je suis à Dakar au Sénégal et j'écoute la WADR 80.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen.
It's time to embrace a youthful mindset and envision your future. Take the lead is in your walls.
Take the lead is in your walls.
This platform serves as a space for engagement designed to equip young people to become effective leaders. They are actively contributing, creatively engaged, and determined in various fields. And now, this is Take the Lead.
Hello and welcome to Take the Lead here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting all the way from Dakar, Senegal. I am your presenter, Augustine Curley. Today, we will be discussing online freedom of expression with two important questions. And one is, should there be limit to online freedom of expression in West Africa? Depending on your response, another question follows. How can online freedom of expression be used to promote accurate information sharing? So please join us. We are live right now on 94.9 FM and our online platforms on Facebook, WADR English Service, and on YouTube at WADR. Remember those two important questions. As well, you, the listeners, can answer them through our online active feed right now. Send in your answers or your reactions. We will read them out throughout the program. In West Africa, online freedom of expression is constitutionally guaranteed in many countries, yet it faces increasing threats from government's repression and the misuse of laws targeting hate speech and fake news. These measures have led to arbitrary arrests, internet shutdowns, and other forms of censorship. Countries such as Benin, Burkina Faso, and Togo formally uphold the right of freedom of expression both online and offline. This right is further reinforced by the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which emphasizes the importance of receiving and disseminating information freely. However, despite these legal protections, a troubling trend is emerging. Governments across the sub-region, are increasingly leveraging legislations and other tools to silence dissent and restrict digital expression. In this context, our guests for today will explore how online freedom of expression can be harnessed to promote truth-telling, enhance democratic engagement, and strengthen citizens' participation across West Africa, particularly through the use of new and emerging technologies.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also on every Tuesday, your youth program will be rebroadcast at 7:15 a.m. and 4:05 p.m. GMT. Take the lead and champion the discourse for the betterment of young people.
Yeah, that's the charge. You have to take the lead in championing the discourse for the young people, not just in Africa. We want to be specific, West Africa. This is where our concentration centers around. So you have to take the lead in helping us to do that. Well, our guests for today are they are important people, and they are young people focused on what's happening around them within the sub-region. So they are, let's begin with Abdoulaye Seck. Abdoulaye Seck is a Pan-Africanist. He is a Sierra Leonean. He's based in here in Dakar, Senegal, providing some services, especially when it comes to English language. So it's a pleasure to have you in our studio, Abdoulaye. And how are you doing? Welcome.
Of course, thank you very much, Mr. Augustine Colley, for inviting me over here in the studio. Hello, everyone. I just want to assure you guys that you are going to have value for your time. Yeah. I'm going to provide my best for this program to be an interesting one. So, listeners tuning in from near and far, welcome to West Africa Democracy Radio. Great. I'm intrigued and keen on being here. Thank you very much, Mr. Augustine.
I like the energy. It promises, to be very intriguing. So, we also have another guest in studio right here, and this person is Kazike G. Gay. He is a youth activist, and Gay is a librarian, but he's based here in Dakar, Senegal, providing some level of activism. As a young person, these are the kind of impacts you are expected to make. So it's a privilege to have you here in studio. His middle name is John. I often love to call you John. So welcome, John. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much, Augustine.
It's a privilege to have you in our studio. Tell us, how do you feel in Dakar, and how is it treating you?
I feel so proud and I feel so good being in Dakar, and it is my pleasure to be on your program.
Great.
Thank you for the invite, and we want to say welcome to all those that are following us online, all those that are listening by way of the radio or whatsoever medium.
Sure.
We say you will have the best that you giving your time for.
Right. Now, the only female on the panel today is Comfort Ajeman Wiafi, and Comfort is a humanitarian activist. She is a Ghanaian, and she's in Ghana. She's also the CEO of OSIWA Consort. She will explain more about that. But welcome to the platform, Comfort. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on this show. I cannot wait with my other brilliant panelists to explore this topic and see how best we can carve something out of it. So I'm really glad to be here, and I know that we are going to make something good out of today. Thank you.
Great. We appreciate that. Now let's begin with Abdoulaye. You are from Sierra Leone, although you are based in here, but we would love you to describe, of course, freedom of expression in your own country, Sierra Leone. How would you describe the practice of freedom of expression in Sierra Leone so far?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Augustine Colley, for that question. I can tell you that the freedom of speech is present in my country, but it is somehow limited. Yes, in 2020, they introduced a new law that could allow journalists to speak up their mind freely without being punished or censored, But in reality, we are not getting what we have paid for back there in our country, you see, because journalists don't have the right to speak against the incumbent government, you see, and that is so detrimental towards the development of our country back there, because there was supposed to be a peaceful protest on the 14th August 2023. I don't know if you have an idea about that, in which the policemen killed a lot of people back there. You see, people rights are not respected back there. It's like the opposite. We are having the contrary, you see. And I think we need to do more to promote freedom of speech in our country back there. Yes, that's what I have to say, Mr.
I mean, it's very interesting. There are more to say regarding that, Abdullahi. Let's hear from you, John. How is it like in Liberia, the practice of free speech, especially online?
I would like to say that freedom of expression, freedom of speech, is well practiced in Liberia. It's kind of limitless. You know, people express themselves by other mediums, or like maybe on the media, on the radio, on Facebook, on other platforms like YouTube and other means, maybe the Instagram. And even those in the media, they bring us story, and there is no embarrassment on their side. They bring out issues and discuss, and government doesn't go after them. So freedom of speech is practiced in Liberia, but like your topic said, it would like to talk about limitation, which we'll dive into that later.
Yeah.
But freedom of speech is practiced in Liberia.
So, in contrast to what Abdullahi said, experiencing in just a neighboring country, Liberia and Sierra Leone are just brothers and sisters, I would say. It seems to be a different story in Liberia. Aren't there young people harassed for maybe criticizing the government, whether online? Aren't people or political parties, organizations being threatened lawsuit based upon the articles they write? Is it not the case in Liberia?
It's not the case in Liberia. Liberia is kind of different. People get in the street to have a peaceful assembly to speak against ill in the society, out against the government, and the government protect them and provide security for them to safeguard the process. So they are only advised not to go contrary to the law or to violate the rights of others. Okay. While they are practicing their citizen right, or their birthright as citizens to protest or to speak against ill in society. They are never bothered. They are given freedom. They are well protected by state security, and they only tell them to do it in a orderly move so that they cannot disturb others. So it's kind of a little bit different from that of what he explained about Sierra Leone.
Okay. Now, let's hear what's happening in Ghana. With you, Comfort, what's the story there about respect for freedom of expression?
Well, I think that in regards to freedom of expression, it's often called the live bloodline of every democracy, and even in West Africa, it's both a right and we cherish it, and it's also a struggle because as much as we practice it, there's also limitations to it. So here in Ghana, and in some part of West Africa, on paper, our constitutions and the African Charter guaranteed us the right to speak, to criticize, and also to share ideas. However, we see mixed reality here, where citizens are allowed to speak freely one day, and then the next moment, during protests or elections, the same right may be curtailed through image shutdowns and all of that. In Ghana, it's fundamental, under the fundamental Article 21 of the 1992 Constitution. Practically, Ghana has the vibrant media space, and we are allowed to speak freely in our country. But as much as we do that, there's also limitations, because even if you have the right to speak freely, depending on how the government feels sometimes, you might also have an issue. Because currently in Ghana, we are facing the same issue, where there is two political parties here in Ghana, which is the NDC and the MPP. Now, while the MPP was in power, there were a lot of things that were said in the air, and the other opposition parties hating on the fact that there is freedom of speech and people shouldn't be arrested for what they say. Now they are in power, and the same thing is happening. They are arresting people. So it means that in West Africa, depending on how the government is feeling at that moment, your freedom of speech could be a problem. And that's what we are facing here in Ghana, actually.
Great, great. I mean, there are more to talk about, but it seems there's a clampdown on free speech in Sierra Leone, according to what Abdullahi has said so far. But Abdullahi, considering our concentration today, that is the online freedom of expression, there are other countries like Togo, even Benin, where young people are expressing themselves through the online media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. How is it like in Sierra Leone now that you've said these young people are not given the chance to express themselves?
Yeah, of course. They are doing well on social media. I observed recently that they have blog posts that they normally do to post news online. They do that freely without being harassed or censored. Yeah, but on a larger scale, like on TV, you cannot do that. Yes,
On television.
On television, you cannot go and talk things bad about the government. You see, you can do that freely on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, because we observe that these platforms are accessible. They are easy to use. You can just wake up one day and start your own blog post in Sierra Leone. So if you are doing those blog posts on social media, I think you can do that freely. But you must be mindful of your language also. You cannot use vague language against the government. You see, I don't want to dive deep, but I think you must be mindful in the way you are going to criticize the government. Yeah, actually, I believe that the government is not open to criticism. And for democracy to last long, we need to exercise or accept criticism, and in a respectable way, in a respectable manner.
Okay,
Yes.
that brings me to the next question about regulation.
Yeah.
Are there laws in Sierra Leone that regulate online media, like regulate Facebook, Twitter? Are there laws to regulate that in the country?
Yeah, of course. You could be punished somehow. Yeah, there are some laws which, prohibit people to talk bad things against the government, but they are not too harsh. Yeah, you are going to be, put in a cell for some days for you to have your senses. There are some laws. You must not cross your boundaries. Freedom of speech is a right, but it's like a fire. If you overuse it, it may burn you. Yes. And we must focus more on amplifying the truth rather than silencing voices.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we will come to that, especially amplifying the truth. Let's hear from John. John saying that, young people's rights have been respected, especially freedom of expression. But let's focus on the online aspect in Liberia. Most young people express themselves online. How is it? Is the government also regulating that? Are they being harassed online? Or tell us a bit about how the young people are using the online media to express themselves.
The young people are using the online media to express themselves freely. And I can say clearly that there is no law in Liberia to regulate them.
There's no law to regulate the social media?
There
like
have been
Facebook, Twitter?
No, in no instance I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, in no instance. At no point in time has anyone been, harassed or called upon maybe to retrieve statement that they made on the social media.
Hasn't there been a time where maybe someone made a post? Maybe the government invited the person or the police invited the person for questioning, maybe based on political statement that they made that the government felt was threatening to the state, or maybe to an individual who felt offended by that post. Have you realized that in Liberia?
What I was saying, it wasn't against the government. It was against the former speaker of Liberia that someone made a statement. I think they had a conference call. I was here then, but I followed that on Facebook.
Okay.
And it was an individual that asked the person or the organization that accused them of some financial debt to come and retrieve their statement from the social media, or else they are going to take them to the Lord they were tarnishing their reputation. But at no point in time have I observed the government asking any individual, whether a young person or whosoever, that maybe express themselves through whatever platform, the social media, whether Facebook, Twitter, or whatsoever. I never observed that. Many times, a lot of young people, I can say that they may use even the rights that are given to them to express themselves. They even go beyond the state, writing issues that they cannot authenticate or they have no control over. But at no point in time has the government ever embarrassed any young person, for such.
How long this has been going on for the government to be so in respect of, the rights of expression online, offline, not bothering people, not arresting people? How long has that been going on? Is it now, or it has been going on years from governments? Liberia fought 14, 15 years of civil war. Is it now happening after the war, or it even started before the war?
No, the freedom of expression actually started, I was and based on history that I read, is after the war. It's a recent, especially that I can say that more like the past government, the Manaseti government of war. Because in the past, people were being harassed for expressing themselves, speaking against the government of Liberia. Even down to students, they were being, running behind on the campuses of the University of Liberia. I read a lot of history. I listened to a lot of people explaining, in the case of Samuel Kanyado, at the time he was president, driving students from the campuses of the University of Liberia because they were sending against, the ills that were in his government. So I don't think freedom of expression was being practiced at that time in Liberia or were being respected by government. They were being harassed. But in recent time, there is a very huge, level of liberty that has been given to the citizens of Liberia to express themselves and practice their constitutional right, which is their fundamental right to express themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Let's hear from Comfort in terms of these frameworks on online regulations in Ghana. We've heard from John coming from the angle of Liberia. We've heard from Abdullahi from Sierra Leone. Let's hear how is it like in Ghana. There are regulations for online, these social media posts in terms of respect for freedom of expression.
Yeah, I think that over the years, from the beginning, there wasn't any substantial regulations, even though Ghana has a vibrant media space. And like I mentioned, Article 21 of our Constitution actually focuses not just on freedom of speech for individuals, but also for both the mainstream media and the social media. But for now, because of how social media is booming now, and how everything sometimes even happens on social media, even before it hits the mainstream, the government has now made certain regulations just to make sure that people become very corrupt with the things that they put out there. I remember some time ago we had a discussion on this show about sliming, and then we looked at how people have the right to say what they have to say, but it has to be in a very respectful and in a decorum manner. So because people think they can have their phones and sit in their homes and do whatever they like and put whatever they want on social media and not probably be held accountable for it, now the government is making sure here in Ghana, people are getting arrested for some of these things. And like my fellow panelists said, people are getting arrested not on huge charges, but just to put them in the cell for 2 or 3 days, just to reset their mindset. Even though you have your phone and you buy your own data bundle, you cannot sit in your house and just spew anything on social media. And now, as much as the mainstream media has the magic bullet effect. Social media has 1,000% of that effect. Now people go to social media for the first-hand information, even before they verify anything. There, it means that it has to be.
Yeah, and that brings me to the concern about mis and disinformation. How can this, this freedom that we have to express ourselves online also undermine the very freedom of expression by providing false information, disinformation or misinformation to the people? And we'll come back to you, Comfort, but let's hear this from Abdullah. How do you think that can also contribute to that? While we have the opportunity to freely express ourselves online, how can it also undermine the freedom of expression by providing unverified information?
Yeah, of course, the negative results are many, I can say. The very first one I want to draw attention to is fear. Misinformation can cause fear in people. You understand? I had witnessed a scenario in which a lady died because of misinformation. She got a news from social media that her son had been involved in an accident.
Wow.
And she died immediately. She couldn't handle the pressure of it, because the news was spontaneous on the spot. So she died as a result, and that action is irreversible. You cannot reverse it, That's the main effect of misinformation, you see. And I want to draw the attention to, division also. We witnessed the gruesome genocide that happened in Rwanda. It was as a result of the media misinforming the people, you see. The genocide happened between Hutu and Tutsi people. One group talking about how they are planning to attack the other, spreading hate on media, saying things that are not true. This is what we talk about, division. Misinformation can cause division among people, you see. So that's what I have to say concerning the question.
Now, with that being said, to you, John, I know you want to speak about how, this online thing is also contributing to mis and disinformation. You can just add on by answering, should there be limit to freedom of expression online?
Yes, I would say yes. There should be a limit.
Why do you say so?
Okay. The reason I'm saying that there should be a limit is because, like you rightly said, people sometimes count the media. They tend to provide information that is not authentic, information that is not fact-based, and this information mislead people who are.
You can have your phone on silence if that is it.
No, it's not mine.
Okay, then we'll keep checking up for that. Yes, you can just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So if you provide information that is not authentic, that you cannot.
Okay, you can just go ahead. All right. We will get that. We'll get that sorted out.
Okay.
We will get that sorted out. But it's a concern, basically. So we'll address that subsequently. But let's hear from Comfort, because she raised this issue about someone being accountable for what they say. So let's hear more from you, Comfort, in terms of how this online thing can also contribute to mis and disinformation, and in your understanding, should there be limit to freedom of expression online?
Yes, I think that there has to be limit freedom of expression online, because, like I stated earlier, a lot of people decide to hide behind their phones and spew all sorts of things online. If we do not put limitations on some of these things, put up restrictive laws, put measures in place where people can actually know that if I have to put something online, online.
Yes, Comfort, can you do some shifting, because you are coming in broken?
That is not happening. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I think.
Is this okay?
Yes.
Is it okay now?
It's better now. Thank you.
Okay. So, like I was saying, I think I do really agree that we need to put limitations just to put people in check, and to make sure that we make people accountable of the things that, like he cited earlier, that people pick up information online about certain information that go a long way to also bring panic and fear to the people in the society or in the areas. By the time that you realize it's actually a false information and all that. So we really need to limit it. As much as we have freedom to speak and freedom to post online, we also need to be careful and conscious of the things that we put. And we can only do that, I mean, from our part of the world, we can only do that if we have proper measures put in place to uphold and apprehend anybody who does such thing. Yeah.
All right, we will come back to you. But finally, before we take a break, it's important, let's hear from Abdullah about whether or not there should be limit to freedom of expression online. Quickly.
Yeah, there must be limits, because we must not use the tool to harm others. We must not use freedom of speech to spread hate, violence, or misinformation. It can obviously harm others. So that's why there should be limits to it. We must create, organizations, fast-checking initiatives to regulate rumors online. You understand? They must be there to counter misinformation. I think it must be limited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, so far we have listened to interesting explanations from our guests on this 34th edition of Take the Lead. In the year 2025, let's now listen to WADR's Monrovia correspondent Ibrahim Parker as he speaks with some Liberians about freedom of expression in the country.
Liberia's constitution guarantees freedom of expression, and the country is a member of regional and international human rights instruments that safeguard free speech and a free press. Yet, legal scholars and practitioners note gaps between law and implementation, especially in areas like safety of journalists and access to information. Young people aged 15 to 35 constitute a large share of the population, has improved expectations around governance, transparency, and the role of digital platforms in shaping public discourse. We got the views of some young Liberians who called for a more engaging space for freedom of expression in Liberia. Harris Willie, a promising Liberian, called for proactive discourse on freedom of expression.
Freedom of expression should be protected for the most part. As a country, our law says that every citizen is protected by the Constitution, and the Constitution of the Republic guarantees each and every Liberian equal rights and protection. And not even the president is immune to any other citizens. Yet there are other leverages that come with the job, including the president. Everyone has freedom of information as per the Constitution. To further demonstrate that, we went and brought the Abdullah Kamara Act that protects Liberians for freedom of expression. With that, I believe that there should be no censorship on people's view, but we will say that people should be responsible for what they say. My point on this whole thing has been, let's promote freedom of expression, but let's have limitation to access to information. And the reason, because we have a society that's gullible. We have a society where mis and disinformation sells out easily. We have a society where people easily manipulate information, not for the rightful purpose, but rather to cause chaos and destruction. So I think sensitive information should not just be released to the public, especially when it has to do with security matters, when it has to do with the health and well-being of leaders. I think these kinds of information should be protected.
Social media serves as a critical arena for youth expression, activism, and community organizing. However, concerns exist about platform moderation, misinformation, and state surveillance online. Martina Tukwe, who embraces an unlimited freedom of expression in Liberia, wants citizens to be civil in their expression.
I think freedom of expression in Liberia should be a lavish, where citizens will have their right to speak freely to the issue, to be able to engage their leaders in all sectors of the country, because when we are lavish to discuss some of the issues, it helps us to build democracy. That's a free way that citizens have the time to speak to their leaders. But when we don't have the time to have the different kinds of dialogues, it's almost like a unitarian state where people don't talk. The government controls everything. So like that, people will not be able to come out and speak to their president, to speak to their lawmakers, their ministers, the different leaders, and tell them, say, oh no, this is the problem that we are going through.
Well, some called for reforms that protect expression while addressing harms such as hate speech, incitement, or misinformation without closing on legitimate disagreement. As Liberia negotiates the delicate balance between protecting public order and preserving civil liberties, the views of its young people light a path toward a more participatory democracy. The challenge for lawmakers, regulators, law enforcement, and civil society is to translate talk of rights into constant practice that protects reporters, online speakers, and civil actors while fostering informed and inclusive public discourse that strengthens Liberia's social and economic future.
Thanks to Ibrahim Parker in Monrovia for that report.
Hey people, my name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea and Conakry. I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Fatou Bintou Asuke. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop, and I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Welcome back to Take the Lead, your exceptional platform that highlights all things about young people in West Africa and beyond. We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR and Facebook, WADR English service. Let's quickly recognize our partner stations in the sub-region. So we begin with Nigeria, where we have Albaka Radio in Bauchi. We also have Darling FM. We have Nenzit FM in Kaduna State. We have Love FM in Abuja. In Liberia, we have Alternative Youth Radio in Lofa County. We have DCN Radio in Rivers County. We have Kwatika Radio in Bangabong County. In Sierra Leone, we have African Young Voices in Freetown. We have Radio Bath in Mal. We have Hands of Hope in Freetown. And we have Eastern Radio in Kono District. For Ghana, we have Radio Pav in the Savannah region. We have Royals FM. In the Gambia, we have Numi FM and Radio Veritas. Those are our partner radio stations that often rebroadcast this program. So once you are there, and like our guest in studio here, you can be assured that your brothers and sisters back home will listen to this program next week. You know, it will be rebroadcast. So welcome back. This time, let's focus on the solutions, recommendations, and we'll be concerned about how can the online freedom of expression be used to promote accurate information instead of, unbalanced misinformation or disinformation that you guys spoke about. So let's begin with you, Abdullahi. How do you think this online platform can be used to promote accurate information?
Yes, thank you very much. As we always say, there is a solution to every problem. And I just want to talk about one recommendation, which is about in education. Education is very important. We need to educate the public on how to differentiate fact from lies. The media is flooded with lies. I can tell you that for a fact. So that is one recommendation, and I want to draw the attention to creating counter misinformation groups.
Okay.
Yeah, there is one in my country, I can tell you that for free, and they were charged with the responsibility of countering misinformation.
Yeah.
And they did a great job, and they often come along elections, because during elections or protests,
It's in relation to fact checking.
Fact checking initiatives. Yeah, they are very important. So that's what I have to say about that. So I don't know.
Great.
What my colleagues have to say.
Well, let's hear from John. What do you have to say in terms of how we can use these online platforms to promote accurate information in the region?
Yeah, I would like to say that the government need to create an office to be responsible to monitor the social medias, especially for my country, the Liberia. That every information that you provide in social media will be observed, and it should be authentic. Because once you have been monitored and every information I provide is been monitored, and if you provide misinformation, you are chucked down and you are investigated. If you are found guilty, you are prosecuted. I mean, people will do their best to provide authentic information to the public, because information that has been provided cannot easily be trashed. Once a person receives information, they take it out and they are gone with that. Like the brother elderly said, those information create chaos. Other people, take this information and it become problem for them, because people in ESA in other places, what they see on the social media is what sometimes they believe in that is happening in our home country. Like for instance, if I sit here and something going in Liberia, I may not know. But once I get on the Facebook, I'm going to see some information pertaining to the happenings in Liberia. So if someone provides information on the social media that is not authentic, and if I'm concerned the information has been provided, and I'm carrying lies, so there should be an office to monitor information that has been provided on the social media. Okay. I think that's my recommendation.
All right, let's hear from you, Comfort. I'm particularly keen on these social media handles too. What do you make of regulations by, Meta, the people who run these online platforms, Twitter, Instagram? How can they regulate those platforms to ensure that those who put information there, if they are not correct, they can not take it down, but maybe shift or deny the person they post? I hope we get Comfort. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I think I agree with the other panelists, where there must be regulations put in place. The government must create a system where we can fast check some of these things even before it hits the media. Here in Ghana, we have the cyber crime unit at the Ghana Police Service. There's a cyber crime unit, and recently, unfortunately, we had an issue here in Ghana where there was a helicopter crash, and there were a lot of misinformation being passed around by certain people who were not even on ground at that moment. And quickly, almost everybody in Ghana received a message from the cybercrime unit in Ghana that people should debunk the issues that were going on. So I believe that at least here in Ghana, I could say that we've taken a step towards making sure that we kept some of these issues.
Okay.
And I think that if we continue a system like that, it is really going to help, because we might not be able to stop the information from going out. But if we are able to, as quickly as possible, debunk certain information before it causes mayhem, I think that it would be a good thing, a good system to run.
Okay. Thank you so much, Comfort. We really appreciate the knowledge you shared with young people in West Africa today. Please, we hope that you'll be available another time for another important and very interesting discussion. Thank you so much.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks to you, John. And we hope that, I'm sure you are staying in Dakar. We'll find another time to bring you on board so that we discuss another important topic. Thanks for coming today.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, the fire burned Abdullahi.
Yeah.
We hope to have you another time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Augustine Colley.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Great. Well, listeners and viewers, this is where we called it a day. On this 34th episode of Take the Lead here in West Africa, Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at WADR.org. My heartfelt appreciations to all of you. Thank you for being with us today. Please join us next Friday for another episode of your program. But remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Colley. Goodbye for now.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also on